They told us the desert was empty. They told us the military ranges outside Las Vegas were nothing but sand, sagebrush, and silence. But that was a lie. Buried in the Nevada mountains, shielded by layers of secrecy, there exists a base that does not belong to us. A base where human generals meet with beings that live 7 centuries. A base where children with glowing eyes play in the shadows of alien warships. And one man, an ordinary Air Force weather observer, saw too much. His name was Charles James Hall, and what he revealed should have shattered history itself. What he described wasn't science fiction, it was worse, because it was real. Today, we dive into the forbidden encounters with the tall white aliens, the Greys who warned us, and the hidden empire within Dreamland that still thrives in silence. Part 1. The Selection. Hall wasn't chosen because he was special. He was chosen because he was disposable. In 1965, he was a young Air Force recruit stationed at Nellis, tasked with something simple, releasing weather balloons. But the balloons weren't the point. His real assignment, kept hidden even from him, was to become bait. One by one, other weather observers before him had broken. They were compromised. Some refused to return to the desert. Others lost their minds. The aliens didn't tolerate weakness. The generals needed someone pliable, silent, and obedient, so they picked Hall. They gave him top-secret orders. He could go anywhere in Dreamland. He could tell anyone anything or nothing. No one could question him, not his superiors, not even the Pentagon. On paper, he was untouchable. In reality, he was completely alone. Imagine standing in a shack at 4:30 a.m., the desert wind cutting through your skin when footsteps begin circling outside. You think it's soldiers until you see them. Pale, too tall, too thin, eyes too wide. Not human, watching you, measuring you. Hall wasn't told what they were. He had to figure it out for himself. And in that silence, the first forbidden truth emerged. The Air Force was protecting an alien embassy buried in the Nevada mountains. Part 2. The Children of the Tall Whites. The Tall Whites live almost 700 years. Their skin is paper white, their hair platinum thin, their bodies fragile, yet their eyes vast, blue with white pupils that later turn pink with age. At first glance, they look humanoid, but stand too close and the illusion shatters. Their bones are too light, their movements too alien, their fingers too long, their stare too unblinking. They arrive in family groups, men, women, and most disturbing of all, children. Hall described mothers bringing their young to watch his weather balloons rise into the black sky. The balloons glowed faintly, like strange lanterns. To the alien children, they were toys. To the mothers, they were lessons. But there were rules enforced with lethal precision. You never touched the children. You never approached without permission. One wrong move, and a mother would kill you without hesitation. Hall saw this maternal ferocity again and again. The aliens adored their children. They believed they loved them more than human mothers could ever love theirs. They flaunted this, repeating it as if to remind us of our inferiority.
And yet, while their children laughed, their guards never lowered their weapons. Weapons unlike ours. Small, white, pencil-shaped rods capable of stunning, hypnotizing, or killing with surgical precision. Adjusted to sodium frequencies, they could send shocks through the nerves, making your body convulse in agony. Adjusted to iodine, they could rupture your blood chemistry and make you bleed out in minutes. These were not visitors. These were rulers in disguise, and the Air Force obeyed them. Part 3. The Embassy in the Mountains. Dreamland, Area 53, Area 54. These names still circulate like whispers among insiders, but what Hall revealed went deeper. There was an outer perimeter, manned by humans, soldiers, MPs, generals. And then there was the inner perimeter, controlled only by the tall whites. Inside, it wasn't a base, it was an embassy, a sovereign alien territory carved into the Nevada mountains. Every full moon, their deep spacecraft arrived, gravity-powered Titans descending in silence. They stayed 2 weeks, then left at midnight on the new moon. During that time, new arrivals disembarked. Some had never seen humans before. They studied Hall like he was an exhibit, Gorilla Charlie in the sagebrush. Technology exchanges were routine, but not out of generosity. They only gave what they needed humans to provide in return. Better radios, better communication systems, never propulsion, never weapons that could threaten them. Hall described the scout craft he saw up close, white ellipsoids built here on Earth with Lockheed and Boeing parts. Proof of collaboration so deep it blurred the line between American engineering and alien design. Inside, they looked less like starships and more like RV trailers, hammocks for children, makeup tables for the women, catalog clothes from Sears and Montgomery Ward. Hollywood told us to expect cold mechanical invaders. What Hall found were neighbors. Neighbors who could kill him without hesitation. Neighbors who laughed, joked, and shopped for dresses. Neighbors who had no intention of leaving. Part 5. The Agreement. The tall whites lived by agreements, rigid, unforgiving contracts that even generals feared breaking. One such agreement, Hall could never be debriefed. If anyone tried, the aliens would know, and they would retaliate. Another, he would never surprise them, and they would never surprise him. If they appeared, he had to sing, make noise, let them know where he was. If he crept up, they might kill him. This fragile diplomacy governed every moment of his existence. Every step in the desert could be his last. But beneath this veneer of cooperation was something darker. One night, Hall saw between 200 and 300 tall whites gathered in the desert, their children laughing as scout craft parked in formation. Alongside them stood U.S. generals, none below the rank of colonel. Civilians in suits mingled with alien commanders. This wasn't observation. This wasn't research. It was partnership. The truth settled in. The Air Force wasn't protecting us from aliens. They were protecting aliens from us. Part 5. The Warning. The tall whites weren't the only ones. Hall hinted at others, grays, shorter, darker, colder.
The ones who warned us. The ones who whispered of consequences if humanity broke the balance. He never said too much. Perhaps he wasn't allowed. But what slipped through was chilling. The tall whites lived longer, thought faster, and demanded loyalty. The grays hinted that their presence was not benevolence, but strategy, and that humanity was not the first species they had made deals with. Part 6. The Cost of Contact. The tall whites live 10 times longer than we do, but their longevity is a curse. Their bodies grow taller, frailer, unable to support themselves. Their bones shatter easily. Their wounds take years to heal. To them, our rapid healing was miraculous. They marveled at a scratch on Hall's skin healing in a day, a process that would take them weeks. They envied us, and perhaps that envy cut deeper than we realized. What else did they envy? Our emotions, our resilience, our ability to fight, argue, forgive, and fight again? Hall noticed the difference. When tall whites got angry, they didn't argue, they didn't debate. They either left or they killed. There was no middle ground, no human compromise. It was a glimpse into a psychology alien to us in ways more terrifying than their ships. Part 7. The Teacher. Among them, one stood out. The Teacher. She laughed. She mocked human ignorance. She pointed at the stars and asked Hall, "Surely you didn't think you were alone?" She was fascinated by humanity's treatment of animals, how we raised cows, tamed horses, made pets of dogs that could kill us. To her, it was unique. On other worlds, intelligent species exterminated lesser creatures. Humans, she said, were reckless enough to coexist. It amused her. It horrified him, because in her words, Hall heard something else. They didn't see us as equals. They saw us as clever animals, worth studying, maybe worth protecting, but never worth trusting. Part 8. The Final Revelation. Hall never stole documents, never smuggled photos. All he carried back was memory. And yet, that was enough. He described scoutcraft melting down, coils overheating, aliens swarming to repair them through the night. He described CIA guards nearly killed for touching a tall white's arm. He described hypnotic weapons erasing 20 minutes of his life in the space of a single step. None of it was classified, none of it was denied. The agreement forbade it. But the deeper truth was left unsaid. The tall whites weren't here temporarily. They were settlers, colonists. Their embassy wasn't an embassy at all. It was a beachhead. And if they lived 7 centuries, how long do you think they planned to stay? Charles Hall left the Air Force. He married, he wrote his memoirs. He whispered his story into the world like a confession. But ask yourself this, if what he revealed wasn't classified, then what is? If generals stood shoulder to shoulder with tall white commanders in 1966, how much deeper is the collaboration now? And if the Greys were warning us then, what exactly were they warning us about? The desert keeps its silence. The mountains guard their embassy. The children of the tall whites keep playing with balloons under the Nevada sky. And somewhere tonight, another soldier is walking alone in Dreamland, knowing he is being watched. The story doesn't end here. In fact, it may only be beginning.